Hey friend, I hope you're doing well. Today I am sharing with you my third update for my Project 100 uses, which is of course a usage-based project pan, and my goal on each product is to reach 100 uses. I have a couple of other rules in there, so in case you've missed it, I'm going to link my intro video for this project so you can check that out if you're interested. Right now I have 6 different products in this project, and they all are a bit different types of products and different formulas and consistencies. So I think it will be interesting to see along the way how each one of them progresses and looks after being used 100 times. This update is especially exciting because, as you might know, I am using July as my mid-year refresh point for all of my panning projects. I do have a couple of changes that I am making to the products in this project to fit with the mid-year refresh theme, so let's just go ahead and hop on into it. Okay, my first product is my Fenty cream bronzer in the shade Butter Biscuit. Prior to last update, I had used this 42 times, and I used it an additional 11 times over the past couple of months, giving us a total of 53 uses. So I was just barely able to hit that halfway mark. I haven't been using this as much in the summer just because I'm a combo skin gal, so you know, summer is oily girl season. So some of my cream products have taken a little bit of a hit in the amount of usage that they're getting just because of the season, but I do still like the way that this is looking on my skin. It's much lighter now that we are into summer and I'm getting just a little bit of a tan, but I still like this product just as much as I did before. I'm just gravitating more toward powders at the moment. As you can see, I was able to hit pan in this product. I hit pan in June, so that was an exciting kind of mile marker to hit. And my goal moving forward is just to continue getting usage on this during the summer months, and then I can especially focus on it in the fall. Next up is my Tower 28 cream blush in the shade Power Hour, and I actually don't have it with me today because I have already decluttered it for the mid-year refresh. I just wasn't reaching for that blush as much as I had hoped. I only used it 9 times over the course of the year. And if I made it to the mid-year point and had only used it less than 10 times, I think that's pretty telling. So I did declutter that one, and in its place, I'm rolling in another Tower 28 cream blush. This one in the shade Magic Hour. This is a beautiful, like, neutral peachy blush, and it kind of played into my little cherub cheeks today. I was very much feeling the cherub vibes. I used Magic Hour paired with another one of their cream blushes, Happy Hour, which is a bright pink. So I'm really enjoying this little cherub cheek moment. I hope you enjoy. This blush was in my 22 uses in 22 project pan, but I was enjoying it so much that I decided to just transfer it over to my Project 100 uses. So I've already got 20 uses out of the way on this one, and I do have a bit of a dip going already in this blush. So I'm interested to see if I could possibly try to use this up within 100 uses. Next up is my Patrick Ta powder blush in the shade She's Seductive. I rolled this in last time, and at the point of the update I had already used it twice, and over the course of the past couple of months I've used it an additional 18 times for a total of 20 uses. My goal for this one is to use it an additional 20 times before the next update so that I can continue with the frequent usage. Next is my Pat McGrath Divine Rose palette. I had used this 51 times before the last update, and I used it an additional 23 times for a total of 74 uses. This month I was finally also able to hit my 5 use minimum on each shade. Last month I had 23 uses on Skin Show Nude, and this month we have 32. For Valoria I had 3 uses, and now I've used it an additional 3 times for 6 uses. For Sable Bronze I had used it 7 times, and now we're at 10 uses. Refined Gold was at 14, and now we have 25 total uses. Iridescent Pink had 5 and it stayed at 5. Extreme Mahogany also had 7 and has stayed at 7. Lovelace I have used once, it was at 5 and now we're at 6. Rose Dusk had 5, still at 5. VR Rose Venus had 8 uses and now we're at 11 total uses. And Astral Solstice had 11 uses and now we're at 14 total uses. I am continuing to see some good dips in these shades. Specifically, Refined Gold and Sable Bronze each have a pretty good dip. These two, of course, also have a good dip. And then the other ones, you can also just tell they've been used. They have just a small dip going. My goal now that we are 3/4 of the way through is to get another 26 uses before the next update. I think I'll be able to do it if I use it every time that I do my makeup over the next couple of months, at least until I hit that goal. So I am excited about the fact that I will be finishing up the first product in this project. I don't think I'm going to be able to hit pan on any of the shadows in this palette before then. The only one really that I could possibly see it happening on is Skin Show Nude, and I've been kind of tunnel panning it for a bit and I think I'm going to back off on that. So I doubt we'll see really a whole lot of progress as far as like hitting pan, but I'm excited to see what it'll look like at the end of the 100 uses. So since I'm going to be hopefully rolling in something new next time, I would really like to get your input. So I have 2 palettes that I have set aside as potential palettes to roll into my Project 100 uses. I'm going to share them with you today, and then I would love it if you would vote in the comments about which one you would prefer to see me hit 100 uses on. Each palette is going to have some different challenges and also different highlights to them, so I'm interested to see what you would think. I'm pretty torn at the moment, and if we do get enough votes, then I will choose the one that was voted on the most, and we'll go from there. So I would love it if you would participate. That would mean so much to me, and it would help me know what you want to see. The first potential Project 100 Uses palette that I have set aside is the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. You might notice I have made a couple of changes to my palette. I think these 2 shades were a like colorful matte and then the glitter. I decided to change them out for 2 different indie shadows in my collection that I thought fit with this palette. I just know myself and I wasn't going to use those shades really. So this does fit my typical color story of shadows that I would tend to gravitate toward much better than it did before. But even so, this is much more colorful than a lot of the palettes in my collection. I tend to gravitate toward really neutral palettes. So I'm excited about how this could push me out of my comfort zone, but that's also what makes me hesitant about this palette, is just the challenge that that would be for me. The second palette that I'm considering is the Natasha Denona Star palette. Each of these palettes are 18 pan palettes, so significantly larger than my Pat McGrath palette that I've been working on. As you might be able to tell, I also made some changes to this palette on the pinkier side of the palette, and I did that just to make this something that I would be more prone to gravitate toward. But Natasha Denona shadows are infamous for being difficult to pan. My goal in this project is not to hit pan necessarily, but it's fun to see like visible difference in the shadows as time goes on. So my worry with this one is that we wouldn't have as much of that satisfactory progress, kind of similar to how Divine Rose has gone. I personally can look up close at it and see dips happening, so it's a little bit satisfactory for me, but there's not any like pan showing or major amounts of progress happening, so I can imagine that that would be a little bit less exciting to watch. And I could see the similar sort of thing happening with this palette. However, this is like my perfect neutral palette at the moment. The only shade that gives me any sort of concern would be this one, just because it's literally the only colorful shade in here. I really love to use greens and even this kind of duochrome red to blue kind of shifting shade. Those are my types of grungy neutrals that I really love and gravitate toward. So overall, this color story does not scare me at all, and it's very inspiring. The Huda Beauty palette is also inspiring for me, but just in a very different way than this one is. That one would be a mix of comfort shades and some challenging shades for me, and this one is straight up in my comfort zone. This is where I live and what I love to play with. So please let me know what you would prefer to see. They are in some ways very similar palettes, but also in other ways they have some key differences. So would love to hear from you, and hopefully we can get a good vote going. And now I have two last products in this project. First, we have the Ofra Milk and Cookies highlighter. This still is my favorite highlighter. I've so enjoyed having it in this project. Last time I had used it 32 times, and I was able to use it an additional 16 times for a total of 48 uses. We're at the point now where the top layer of the texture of this highlighter is starting to get worn away, but you can still very much clearly see the pattern of the Ofra highlighter. So we're not anywhere near pan, like that's not happening in this project. I've never tried to hit pan on an Ofra highlighter, so I wasn't quite sure what to expect. But I don't know if it's just that I go in really light-handed or if it's the formula. It's kind of a thinner formula, so there's not a bunch of product that gets picked up every time. So again, not the most appealing visual progress, but this has just been a joy to use. I love it every time that I use it. I'm so close to that halfway point. The only reason that I haven't reached for this more is because I included a highlighter in my graveyard project pan, so that might have been a mistake. I am still trying to reach for this as much as possible, so my goal for next time is to use it another 20 times. And last but not least is my ColourPop Lippy Pencil in the shade Brink. And again, I don't have it today because I decided to declutter it as part of the mid-year refresh. Last update, I had 13 uses on that liner. I did use it an additional 8 times for a total of 21 uses. But similarly to the Power Hour blush, I kind of decided that if it's really something that has been in from the beginning of the year and I haven't been able to use it at least 25 times, then it's probably not something that I'm going to be gravitating toward in my collection. I also do know that I have two pretty similar liners. I have the Huda Beauty like Terracotta 2.0 liner or whatever that's called. And then I have the M Cosmetics Kitten liner. They might not be exact dupes. I think the Terracotta liner is pretty close, to be honest. But regardless of whether they're exactly dupes, they give very much the same vibe on the lips. And frankly, I would just much rather reach for those instead. So I feel absolutely fine with letting that liner go. In its place though, I am actually going to be rolling in a lipstick. So I chose the Charlotte Tilbury lipstick in the shade Glowing Gen. This is from the Charlotte Tilbury like Hot Lips line. So far I've only worn this color a few times actually, but I've always enjoyed it. On me it lies somewhere between a very wearable everyday shade and a statement lip, and I really dig it, at least the few times that I've worn it. So I'm excited to have this one in the project. I think it could be a little bit of a challenge for me, but like I said, it's a shade that I really enjoy. I'm interested to see what 100 uses will look like on this at the end of this project. But first, I'm just going to shoot for that 25 use goal. I'm not sure if it will happen within the next couple of months, but we're gonna try. So once I reach that 25 use limit, then I can kind of decide about the future of this lipstick in my collection. And that's everything. So please remember to vote in the comments. I would love to hear from you and to know what you're looking forward to seeing in the future. If you have been checking out my videos and haven't yet subscribed, I would love it if you would subscribe. I also have my Instagram linked in the description if you're interested in checking that out. And I also always have some creators that I really enjoy watching linked in the description. So please go check them out as well. If you are a person with a uterus, then I hope you are taking care of yourself and your mental health. It's wild out there. Please remember to take a moment to like breathe and to care for yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.